Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back here to my channel where I play Planet Zoo. My name is Nissa, and just a little reminder that this build have been pre-recorded, not the voiceover here, but the build itself and the outro in the end. And all of the cinematics, because I built this before the new DLC, so therefore if there's things that would have been done differently had I had all of the new props, or it's just I say something a little outdated, that's why. However, I have 5 of these pre-recorded videos left from Pinehut Zoo, so I think I'm gonna put them out this week, I have decided. Instead of mod videos, I may sprinkle some mod videos in between some of the days, but not all. So that will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday we're gonna make the final zoo tour, which I would love to have done as a live stream, but because it's pre-recorded I really can't. But anyway guys, I hope you gonna enjoy it anyway. As I think I already mentioned, today we are building for the snow leopard, and this is actually gonna be a two-parter. So this video will be the snow leopard and the most of the house design, and the other part will be the Siberian tiger and the Arctic fox. And yes, I just built a triple fox house in my new Nubia zoo, but I built this first and got the triple fox house idea later, so that's why. And yeah, I still really like the build I made here also, and it is two very different builds, so it's not like you just could watch one and then feel like you are watching both. Again, you don't have to watch them both if you don't want to, but it's just it's not the same build I built twice. It is two very different designs and builds all over. Anyway, if you don't remember, because there's been happening in a lot in Planet Zoo basically the last couple of weeks, but Pinehut Zoo is this tiger-based zoo, which is mostly about either having animals that can take the cold or building habitats that make it possible for them to be here. For instance, that's why we have such a big entrance building to do that. Out here we are gonna have outdoor animals with a little house, but they need to be outdoors, so therefore they need to be able to take the cold all year round, especially because buildings are expensive, and especially big buildings like this is gonna be, so therefore we think that this would be a massive good solution. And today I just want to mention right up front, I'm gonna steal a part of my build today from another YouTuber, the Lady Designer. If you know my videos, you probably already know hers, but I will link her channel below, so you can go and watch her videos and who she is if you want to, of course. No pressure here, but I would like to just mention that this is not my complete own idea. The habitat itself is, but as you can see here, I built a house on the left side of the path, but the outdoor habitat will be on the right side of the path. So therefore we will have this bridge where the snow leopards can walk over the guests, which would be this clear glass bridge which we built in the beginning. Again, this is a part I stole. It wasn't this design the Lady Designer did. She did something with a different kind of wood, for instance, but she also did something a little bit different with it, where I'm gonna do this with it. But the idea, the glass bridge and that, is stolen from her, so I just want to give her props for that, and just mention that she's an amazing builder and I really love the things she do. So therefore it just makes sense for me to actually show you also how much I appreciate other builders for Planet Zoo, because we are a big group out here, but we do a lot of different stuff, and sometimes we overlap and sometimes we don't. But this bridge piece will both be used today for the snow leopard, but also for the Siberian tiger, which should go up tomorrow, Thursday, but I'm not sure about that quite yet because again I need to be able to actually edit the video first, but I think so. But anyway, we are here to talk about the snow leopard, so let's get started on that. And I personally think it's one of the most beautiful leopards. I know a lot of people either don't like the color or the shape, where a lot of other leopards are very elegant and thin and sporty looking. The snow leopard are more like a practical model if you think of it like cars. Like you have the speedy quick cars that can move around and turn on a coin and these kind of things, where the snow leopard is a van. It works, it's fine, it does what it should, but it's not too fancy. And that's actually part of what makes it so beautiful to me. As many other animals that live in the cold, and I will define here, I don't mean the cold like up north, since they do live more in Central and South Asia, but these places just have a lot of mountains where they get really cold at the top, so that's more where they live. So therefore I say in the cold and not up north, because they are not up north. But they have these criterias build wise that a lot of the Arctic animals also have, which is these shorter limbs, so shorter ears, shorter snout, shorter legs, a little bit shorter tail, still a long tail because it uses it to maneuver, but still shorter everything, and a more rounded compact face and body, which help the heat. Again, we talked about this actually last Saturday with the Arctic facts. The heart is the heater, and the longer the blood pumps away from the heater, the colder it gets. So we want to make sure that it can reach all the way around before it get back into the heater and get heated up again. So therefore it needs to have these very compact big parts around the heater to isolate it, but still have these shorter limbs so it doesn't have to travel that far. It also has this colder area animal feature, which is the color that is very pale. It is however not white, it is more this paler color, this yellowish brown tinges color, and then it have these rosettes that are very well known on leopards, which shows I'm still a leopard. I don't really look more like a leopard than a cheetah or a lion or any other cat, but I am still a leopard. To be able to have such a long tail, again I just mentioned the shorter limbs, the tail is still pretty long compared to that, so therefore it needs a lot of extra hair around the tail to keep in the heat as good as possible. However, leopards have lost their tails or parts of it because of cold or other things earlier. It wouldn't be that weird if two of them lost them, but it isn't like half of them running around without tails. They also have this quite unique feature that most cats and actually most pawed animals don't have, which is fur on the underside of the paws. Not just growing in between the the paths they walks on, not just growing in between that, but actually underneath that, to keep the very sensitive paws away from the snow as good as it possible can. Again, it's not perfect. This animal can feel the cold, but it is a little extra kind of a glove. Through the winters you will still get cold fingers, but the gloves help you off a ton still. I know I already mentioned a little bit where the snow leopard lives, but let me just specify here. It would be Bhutan, China, India, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan. I'm pretty sure I didn't pronounce that right. Mongolia, Nepal, Pakistan, Russia, Tajikistan, I think, Uzbekistan, and Afghanistan. And it is still in these rocky mountainous areas, but it can both be like a very, very rocky mountain area, and again they would need these rocky areas to find a cave or something like that to live in. But they also move a lot around in the mountain forest, but also grassland and scrublands still on a mountain. And they don't only live in the cold climate zone, they also live in the temperate. However, they will move through the year, as we know many animals do. So through the winter, they will be able to come down further to the ground from the mountaintop, and through the summer, they will move up up closer to the mountaintop where the snow and the cold is, and their ideal living conditions is. Now, I think a lot of people that live up in the north, and I'm saying a lot because I'm pretty sure that this specific thing can change from people to people, but a lot of these people living these places where it's very cold, and during the winter it will be extremely early dark because of the sun going down. However, still it lives not in the north that much, so it have more sun, so, even though it have all of the snow, and at the same time it's still a cat. So therefore it is most active at dusk and dawn, not from dusk to dawn, but at dusk and dawn. And this I thought it would be because the things they eat would be more active there, so easier to catch. But their eating habits varies very much, even though they are carnivores. But I figured they would eat like bigger rodents and such, but it's more like ibex, markhor, deer, bahal, boar, mammoths, still small rodents, and pikas, but still these bigger animals also. So it's not just about what they eat, it's also just they like those hours of the day. Apparently it's really much a cat thing. Everyone who ever lived with a cat can account for this. But as many cats, not all, but many cats, the snow leopard is also very solitary. But the amount of solidarity actually varies a lot from cat to cat. With the snow leopards, they are actually completely solitary creatures, unless it's mating seasons. They have their own territory where they will move around. Sometimes they will spend a few weeks the same place, sometimes a few months, but they will move around, and all the way through they will have those roads they normally use to move around the area. And they will of course mark them like we see with other animals such as dogs and foxes and other cats, of course, both with feces, scrubbers, and potent scent sprays. I don't think I need to explain that. I think your imagination can probably do that. Yeah. Anyway, they are also a very muscle beast. As you can see just by looking at it, it needs to be just as agile as other cats, because it still needs to be able to catch its prey, and they are able to do that. They can actually hunt down their prey for more than 300 meters, which are 980 feet. That's a lot. But at the same time, it's chunky, it's heavy, it's short-legged, so how can it do this? And it's because it's not chunky like fat, it's chunky like muscle. A big piece of the body is completely muscle, especially the hind legs, which it's used to both set off with when they want to jump forward, but also when they actually want to climb, where the muscles in the front legs are very, very different because they are made more to like grabbing and pulling, where the hind legs are more like pushing. So you can see a clear device in the muscle, the way the muscles are built in these legs. Anyway, before we get too far here, I just want to tell you a little bit about the build. I think this is a build that a lot of people growing up in the 90s and the 2000s can recognize from the zoos. So this would be like, my idea was basically that we started with the indoor habitat, and that was all the snow leopard had. We had something else over here because back then you just didn't bother. You didn't really think about the animal need. The thing you thought about was that it needed to be cheap and guests needed to be able to watch it, and that was basically that. But later on, we actually began to think about that. So then I think they needed to figure out a way to get the leopards over here in the outdoor area so they can actually stretch their leg. And then I think they had like only the climbing area at the beginning. And then later on again, they opened up the area so they would have this beautiful snow area. That's also why you have the complete rocky area. That was the first outdoor area. And then the snow, which would be so much more expensive, was added much later. Again, this isn't a habitat I would want to see animal have in real life, honestly, but it is more realistic than most of the builds I built. However, because I use wood in the what's it called, the bridge, they can actually climb it. I didn't think that far, but I'm pretty sure a zoo would have measures to make sure that they don't climb it. Just wanted to mention that. But back to the snow leopard. When it comes to the threats of the snow leopards, I'm gonna read this up from the Animalia.bio website about snow leopards. Again, link is in the description. Just so you get the complete right thing, I don't say anything weird. So, snow leopard are endangered species on IUCN, threatened species red list. There is a high demand for snow leopards coats, and so it is illegally hunted for that purpose. Their body parts and bones are used in traditional Asian medicine. Climate change is becoming another threat for this species due to habitat shifts, fragmentations, and loss as it requires a large space for its habitat. So here we clearly have something to work with, but I do believe that this is something that can be turned around within the next 10 or 15 years if we all do our part to work the right way. As for now, please enjoy the cinematics and I will come back afterwards. Okay guys, that's all for now. No, I'm not done with this building. But it took some time. So I gotta stop here for now. We have a complete habitat here with the snow leopard, and then we're gonna add 2 more animals in here in the building, and I will do that next. So yeah, that will be up soon. Again, I'm not sure when, but when it's up, you can see it here on my channel, and if you want to make sure you can, then ring the bell. Yeah, and I know it's still kind of the same theme that I did on the other side of the zoo, but it's still very different. And once again, this tunnel idea is from the lady designer. And I'm pretty sure link will be in the description. Again, if I remember to find it, because I can't remember which video it is, and she has so many, so I will try, and if I can find it, it will be in the description. But in general, just watch some of her videos because she do amazing stuff, and she also actually visit other people's zoos on her channel, so people who don't have their own channel can still show off their zoos there, and it's normally quite amazing zoos she shows up. So yeah, recommend that channel. I will link both her channel. I will link her channel no matter what, and then if I find the video, I will link that too. So yeah, you know the drill, guys. Like, subscribe, and turn on the bell notification so you know the next time I upload a video. I really hope to see you again, either in the comments below or in the next video. Bye guys!